Hi, everybody. I'm Todd Wanerman from the Advanced program at San Francisco State University. I'm also proud to say I am a former preschool teacher as well. And I wanted to facilitate a short demonstration and reflection session with you to think about using music and movement in remote circle times or group times. I want to focus on two key themes in this short video. One is, how can we take advantage of the strength of remote teaching? What's built into remote teaching that allows us to do things that we couldn't do in the classroom, or do things differently, perhaps better than we could in the classroom? And I also want to talk about how to use basic best pedagogical teaching practices in remote teaching, because you might be surprised just how many of the basic best practices of teaching also help us figure out how to organize our online teaching. So let's get started. You can see I've set up my camera here on my coffee table in my own home. So let's start with that right there. That's an advantage of remote teaching. You probably can think of many, many times when students have expressed curiosity about your home and where you live. It's something that preschoolers really chew on, because preschoolers, children between the ages of 0 and 6, are trying to figure out the connection between school and home and how they fit into the different worlds that they're starting to work in. So that's why the idea that your teacher might not live in your classroom seems strange to a 2 or 3-year-old. And then by the time children are 4 and 5, they understand that you live somewhere else, but they may start to have curiosity about it. So we can use the remote teaching platform to share our world. So there's two advantages right there: promoting thinking and sharing your world. I'll put up a graphic at the end of this with all of these principles on them, so you can write them down or record them as we go along, and I'll also make it easy for you by having a sheet at the end with everything. So if I was leading this group time, I would want to take advantage of the fact that children can see how important music is to me and see all the different instruments I have here. If I was sharing my guitars in the classroom, I would probably only bring one, maybe two at a time, because they're fragile and it's hard to transport them. So this is a great advantage here. The children could see all of my guitars. That leads us to another best practice that we can easily weave in to our online teaching, and that is to encourage active participation on the part of the children. Another one is to encourage thinking skills. So think for just a second, how might I encourage thinking skills and active participation just with what I've got here at home as a way of strengthening that school-home connection? One thing I might do is invite the children to vote on which guitar they'd like me to play. And if I was doing several circle times, maybe I wouldn't do that in the middle of this circle time, but maybe I'd give them the opportunity to vote for what we do the next time. And that raises a question which I'll touch on briefly in this, which is to think about how you want to manage communication, or traffic control, for want of a better word. Do you want to give children, do you want to invite them to speak and talk in the session? Do you want to give them some chances to make choices and communicate with you, but you don't want to deal with it in the middle of the session? You want to think about those things and experiment with them. We're all experimenting with them. We're all learning this as we go along. Okay, so I might give the children the chance to vote on which guitar we play. And you'll see here too, all I have to do is swivel my camera here to show that there are actually even more guitars over there. And you notice that I didn't clean my house up. I didn't put the guitar cases away. I didn't make this look like a professional studio. We want to share our world, our real world, with the children. And that's another advantage of remote teaching. Okay, so we might do a vote, and we might ask some other questions like, what do you notice about the guitars? In a minute, I'm going to talk about same and different as a really important concept to help children play with while they're at home doing this new kind of learning. But you could invite the children just to think about what's the same about some of the guitars and what's different. And of course, I could bring the camera closer to the guitars because we'd want the kids to get a closer look. But I think what would be easier for me and for you is to bring the guitars closer to the camera. So let me go get one. And I'll bring it right up close here. I'm going to put the strap on over here so I can continue to talk. All right, so this guitar is one of my favorite guitars. I play this guitar all the time. And if I can line the headstock up right here with the camera, we might be able to do some comparison around how many strings different guitars have. You can see here that there are 12 tuning pegs. So that means this is a 12-string guitar. And I can actually bring the strings this close to the camera. There's another advantage of remote teaching. Everybody can take a close look at the same time. No waiting turns or anything like that. So now I want to talk a little bit about content learning with group times and music times. You might take a moment out before or after you do the music and movement with your instruments to talk a little bit about the physical science of music. I love doing this because children can actually see physical science concepts happening with certain musical instruments, and guitars are a great example. So, for example, I can bring the guitar right up here, and I can show you that when I pluck the guitar, you can see the strings are wiggling. And this is a great chance to talk with children about how all sound is made by things that make the air wiggle a little bit. And when the air wiggles, it makes sounds. And those sounds are called vibrations. That's a really easy way to help children think about a very complicated physical science idea. But it's also a chance to incorporate some new vocabulary and concepts. So words like vibration are very hard to explain to a child. But if you can show a child what a vibration is, not only does a child help figure out what that means by collecting clues, but it also stimulates and develops the language processing centers in the brain, makes them better at figuring out new vocabulary on their own as they go forward. Classic best practice teaching that you can spend exactly 10 seconds talking about. I'm not going to get into this today either, but children are often fascinated by the idea of tuning a guitar. And you can get these very cheap electronic tuners which show you, I don't know if it's going to do it here. Anyway, let me put it on here. I don't want to take up too much time with this. See if I can get this positioned in front of the camera there. So there you can see that when something's in tune, the needle's going to be right up there in the green. A perfect way to visualize the idea of pitch and tuning. Another very complicated abstract concept. All right, so there's some examples of how you can use the advantages of remote teaching to enhance children's learning. Let everyone look at things together that they might not be able to do all at once, or also introduce new concepts or ideas as well. So now let me just show you a few activities with a guitar that you might do that are unique to shelter in place. Of course, you could do plenty of the traditional songs. I can't see my camera here in Camtasia, so hopefully I've got a good angle on this and you can all see me. Let me just back a little bit like that. There we go. Okay, so of course you could do traditional songs, the same kind of songs you like to do, and what I would encourage you to do there is, again, to think about the principles, to encourage active participation, encourage thinking skills, give children some real concrete things to do, and you'll want to think again about whether you want to encourage back and forth communication during some parts of your circle time or limit back and forth communication during some parts of your circle time. But the songs that you would want to choose, even if they're your traditional songs, are songs where the children can explicitly do active things. So songs like, we're gonna shake, shake, shake ourselves out, shake, shake, shake ourselves out, shake, shake, shake ourselves out, and wiggle our waggles away, where you can give the kids explicit actions and movements to do. And then you might even invite them, like you would do as part of best practices in the classroom, to say, what are we gonna do next? Let's see, here's another chance to give them opportunities to vote. Jump, jump, jump our jiggles out. Twirl, twirl, twirl our twitches out. Spin, spin, spin our sillies out. Any number of things you can. So think about giving kids specific things that they can do. But let me show you a couple ideas of how you could create activities around stay at home. So here's one that I just came up with this morning. And you may notice that I'm not playing anything complicated on the guitar. I'm playing 2 open chords. So if you're thinking, I don't have a guitar, I can't play guitar, don't worry about that. This is the musical equivalent of drawing stick figures. Children don't need it to be slick. They don't need it to be technically advanced. You could use a shaker or a kazoo, and they'd be perfectly happy, and it would help enhance this thing. So, one of the things we want to give kids an opportunity to do with what we're doing in our circle times is to explore the experience of shelter in place in a way that makes it fun and interesting, but also helps them process it. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, one of the concepts that shelter in place helps us support children to explore is the connection between school and home. So here's a couple of songs I made up just this morning to explore school or home. So here's one, and feel free to do these, but these are also just examples to encourage you to think up your own ideas. But if you've got a guitar, if you don't, I'm happy if you take these and use them. So here's one that goes like this. Do you have one of these in your house? It's a place where 2 or 3 can sit down. And it might have a pillow on it. We call it a... Did you find it? Did you find it? Yeah. Maybe you need one more hint. You might sit on it and watch TV. We call it a couch. You did it. You found it. It's a couch. Yeah. Now, if you feel bold, you might say, I've got a couch in my house too. There's my couch. I've been spending a lot of time on my couch since we've all been home. So I didn't set that up exactly how you would set that up with kids. I just jumped right into it. But what you want to do with young children is say, we're going to play a game. Let's see if you've got one of these in your house. In the room you're in, because remember, you got to think about supervision and stuff like that. So in the room you're in, can you find one of these? Here's another one that I made up too. Do you have one of these in your house? Well, find it if you're able. It has 4 legs, but it can't walk. We call it a... Did you get it? Did you find it? Do you need one more hint? You might put a big old plate of food on it. We call it a table. So, what were we doing there besides fostering the school-home connection? We were encouraging the children to think and look and find something active, encouraging discrimination. We were strengthening the idea that there are things in your home that are in every home. There are things that are universal, which I think could be very comforting for kids right now. And you notice also we did some math. 2 or 3 people can sit on a couch. A table has 4 legs. These are appropriate and effective ways to embed early numeracy into things that really mean something to children, that will really engage their thinking around numbers and how to use them. Okay, let me show you one more really quickly like this. Here's one, and you don't really even need the guitar for it. So I'll show you one. Hang on, probably cut my head off there. So this is another one that's really simple like this. What's the same? What's the same? What's the same at school and home? Can you find something in the room that you're in that you also find in the classroom or whatever you call your center? Let's think. Let's look around together. What's the same in this room and the classroom? I'm going to look around. Oh, I see something. I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to give you some time to look around, and then we'll share what we found. And then, when you feel ready, you might say, you know what I found? My window. There's a window in my house and a window in the classroom. Now again, when you encourage thinking skills, children will want to think and talk. So you have to think about how you want to set up your live circle times. Do you want to encourage children to unmute their microphones and talk sometimes? Do you want to have them turn their microphone off? Do you want them to respond and initiate ideas to you in real time? Or do you want to set that up so that they can email you or text you or chat window or whatever you want to do? These things take a lot of thinking about, and it won't be the same for all of us. So But there's two examples of how we can use some of those best practices and advantages of the remote platform to offer children some really exciting and comforting learning during this difficult and unusual time.